Hello everyone, this is Eric Berry with another Teach Me to Code screencast. Today I want to talk about the Google Plus like button, or the plus one button. And since it's a new technology out with Google Plus, beta invites only right now, very excited about it. I wanted to show you how you can create a similar plus one experience for your users and have them plus one some type of activity or model or whatnot. So anyway, we're going to go in and create a new Rails app. To start off with, we're going to say Rails new, and we'll call it like my plus one. So let's go into that app and let's create first we want a user. I'm not going to create anything difficult or complex, just really want a simple user to work with. So do Rails G, let's use scaffold on this. User, we'll give it a name, which is a string, and that's probably all we need for right now. So we'll create that, and let's also create another scaffold or a model, which would be a article. Let's see if I can spell that right. We'll have the article with a title, which is a string, and a body, which is a text. So there we have it. We have two models that we've created. Now all we have to do is run our bundle exec rake db migrate, and that will create our SQLite database. And now we can run Rails S, which starts up our WebWorks server. And as you can see, we can go over to localhost port 3000. So here we have localhost 3000, and I didn't delete that one yet. We don't have the route set up for the route, so let's just go straight to users and jumping ahead of ourselves here. See, we have our new scaffold for users. Let's create a new user. Let's do Chuck. All right, so we'll create a new user Chuck. Create a new user Eric. Oops. Yeah, well, all right, there we go. You can actually edit it as well within the scaffold. So on top of that, we also have articles, and in the articles we can simply add one. Let's call it my first article. This is really, really cool. Okay, so you can see that we have articles and we have users. So what we want to be able to do is allow the user to flag an article as whatever they want it to be. So in this case, it would be a like. One of the tools that I've found, one of the gems that I found that is really nice is Medihack's Makeflaggable. This is something that was really recently released. I really like how he's done it. He just created a polymorphic model which allows us to simply call Makeflaggable on any active record domain model, and then you can specify who the flagger is by saying Makeflagger, or sort of acts as. So you use Makeflagger on the user's model. And then he has some other options as well, and this is really cool, and I did like this. The problem that I had when I ran into this is that I wanted to be able to have multiple flags, and in this one it allows you to flag an object with a reason, but for my purposes I needed to be able to flag an object with many different flags, and I didn't care so much for the reasons. So forked this and made a few changes, and you can see we have it a little bit differently, where we have the Makeflaggable column there, which extends the flaggable gem, or the Makeflaggable gem, and here you can actually specify which flags you want to allow. So here we have inappropriate, favorite, and then on the user we also have Makeflagger. So you can see we have in here user.flag, and then you pass in the object that you're flagging, and then put the flag name. Or you can say, and you can go through this, with the bang we have it to where it actually will return an exception, an already flagged exception, if that user has already flagged it. If not, it just returns false. You can go through and do stuff like flag, unflag, get the flaggings both from the article or the user, and this is actually really simple to use, and it's been really helpful for me, so I'll show you how we integrate that. First thing let's do is open this up in TextMate. So here we go. We want to install a gem. There we go. So to install this, let's just plop this into our gem file and run our bundle install. So once we run this, it will install our Makeflaggable gem, and we can start telling our models to become flaggable. Okay, now that we have that, let's go back to our source and go into our models. Now on the article, we do want this to be flaggable, so we'll say make flaggable, and if we reference our documentation, you can see that right afterwards we just pass in a list of the flags we want to allow. So in our case, we want to just say like. So now we know that the article can be flagged as liked, and on the user we want to make sure that the user is the one that does the flagging, so make flagger, I believe is what it is. Yep, make flagger. So now if we go into our console, let me save that, Rails C, we'll go into the console and let's just do a few things real quick. Let's create a new user. User.create. Actually, we already have a user, so let's do user.find by name Chuck. So here we have our user. That's a little easier to read. Oh, and I accidentally hit the wrong button, so let me clear that. Let's try again. User equals user.find. Let's just do first. Okay, so we have Chuck. So Chuck is a flagger. So if we do user.flag and double tab, you see that we can get something called flaggings, and we get an error on this. And it looks like our error is that this database table does not exist. So this is actually really good to know. So if we come back to our documentation, I probably missed a step. Yep, I did. So we actually have to run Rails generate make flaggable. So here we can do that. Make flaggable. And that creates our migration table. So bundle exec rake db migrate, and it creates our table. And if you're curious to see what it looks like, you can see we have flaggable type, flaggable ID, flagger type and ID, and then the flag. And you can see it actually has a bunch of indexes as well to make this quicker. So, okay, now that we have that, let's go back into our console and test this again. So, user equals user.first. Alright, so we got Chuck, user.flaggings. So we don't have any flaggings. So let's grab the first article as well. Article.first, article.flaggings, and that has none. So let's say we want Chuck to be able to flag the article as a like. So we would say user.flag pass in the article, and then pass in the symbol of whichever you want to use, whatever flag you have set up. So here we have user.flag article like, and now it returns the flagging. So now if we say user.flaggings.reload, it actually comes back with all of the flaggings for that user, which in this case is 1. And also if we say article.flaggings, .reload, now you can see that also comes back with our flagging. So what happens if we want to try and add that again? So let's say we have our user and we want to like it again. We do it, it returns nil. That's because that flag already exists. If we throw the bang in there, it actually throws the exception, which is an already flagged error. So if the user wants to unflag, I don't remember I thought it was Command Z or Control Z, but I don't know how to clear it, so I'm just going to be doing this for a little bit. But if we want to unflag it, we could say user.unflag and pass in the article. And it looks like, yep, it also requires the flag name. So there we go, user.unflag, and we can say user.flaggings.reload. And again, we're back to none. So there we go, we have it. Very simple to integrate on the interface. So let's say we have, if we come into articles controller, and just to make things easier on our index, we're going to say user, or let's just say current user equals user.first. So that'll be Chuck. And here we're going to go into the articles index view and just say, just to show who I am, current user.name. So if we come back into our Rails app, we go back into our Rails app and we're back on our articles list. You can see, hi, I'm Chuck. So let's go ahead and add an additional flag on here that if alright, so we're going to add an additional flag saying if current user is present, let's go ahead and add the link to flag as, or actually let's just do like. And we do need a link to send this to. So for right now, let's say we're going to like article path and pass in the article, and let's assume that our current user is also in the session. So I'm not going to worry about that right now, but if you have a current user in the session, we'll just load that from within there. So if we go into our routes and you see resources articles, we want to add a new route for the like action. So if we turn this into a block and pass in within the block member do, and member do, it allows you to specify routes that actually are specific to an item instead of the collection, so or a member within the articles instead of a collection of articles. So here we know that we're going to have an articles ID. So if we do member do, we can say get and then pass in the name like. So that actually should create our route for us. Just to make sure, let's run rake routes. And let's see here. We have articles right here. So here we have our like article path, and it goes slash article slash ID slash like. So now that we know we have that, let's go back into our Rails app and create that. We'll create that new action. So we have like, and let's get our article.find with the params ID, and let's also, just assuming that we have our current user already, which is Chuck. Okay, and say if actually all we need to do is say current user dot flag article with like. So that'll actually do the same thing that we did in the console. Once we have that, we can say, all right, let's go back to our index, articles path, and pass in the notice saying you now like this article. Okay, let's give it a shot. Okay, a refresh. We should have a like link here. If I like it, click that. It doesn't show the flash message, but that may be because it's not on here. So let's see here. Flash. Okay, so we like it. You now like this article. So we have it right here. It's kind of an ugly site so far, but I just really wanted to focus on the core elements that I'm doing and nothing else. So, okay, so now that we have that, let me just wrap this real quick so that we can have it separate from the rest. Okay, now that we have that, let's hit like again. Okay, you now like this article. I'm checked. Now the problem here that you probably recognize already is that even though we're liking it again and again, it's returning a nil every time. So what we'd rather do is show a button or a like link that will show like if they don't like it, and will show unlike if they do like it. So to do that, we want to come in here and say we want to turn this into a toggle button. So the best way to do this probably would be to create a helper method on this. So let's go into our helper methods, and on this one I'll just throw it in articles helper right now. And so let's create a new method called toggle like button, and we're going to pass in the article and we're going to pass in the user. So with the article, we want to check to see if that article is already liked by this user. To do this, we would reference our documentation again, and you could see it actually will return true or false based on whether the user has flagged this item already with that flag name. So if user dot flagged article with like, then we already like this, else we don't like this yet. So here we can actually return our link to if we already like this, we can say unlike, and on here we can after that we pass in our path. So I'll probably just use the same link as before, so like article path, passing in the article, and here we have our like button again passing it in as well. So if we come back here to our index, and we can put that instead, so toggle like button, and it should show whether we like it or not, and show the name of the link as well as everything else. Okay, it doesn't recognize what a user is. Line 26. It's because we are not passing it in correctly. All right. Okay, so you can see that we actually already like it. So we click unlike, and it doesn't do what it's supposed to do yet, but it is, you know, that much closer. So what we could do is go in and into our articles, and here we could say we want to basically replicate the same logic that we had in our helper. So let me grab this and go back to our controller, and here we just want to say if current user has flagged this article already, let's unflag it. Unflag, else let's flag it. Alright, and after that we would just go back and say, well, we can actually, if we want, we can put in a message saying you now don't like this article and you now like this article, and just pass in the message. So if I refresh here, unlike, it says you now don't like this article. Hit like, you now like this article. Now you can do a lot of stuff with this in regards to CSS, make it look better. You can create buttons using CSS3 or just 2 different buttons, or however you want to do it. But this is the gist of how we would perform this. And it's nice because you can actually create as many flags as you want. So you don't have to just stick with one flag. You can say, okay, I like this. Maybe this is my favorite. Maybe this is inappropriate. Maybe this is whatever it might be. Flag as completely confusing and annoying. Whatever it might be, you can just throw in as many flags as you want into the model, and you'll be able to have that data there for the user and be able to run reports on your back end. So anyway, I hope this helped out. I appreciate Chuck and the opportunity to kind of get my feet wet again on screencasting, and I did miss it, so thank you very much.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good, though.
It could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey!